Hi everyone, thanks for listening to my presentations. Today I'll be talking about normal ovulatory cycle, that is the normal menses. There are a lot of irregular menses and many causes. I'm not going into that today, but you need to know the normal before you can identify the abnormal. Okay, let's go. Menstrual cycle is highly regulated, or you can say it's highly coordinated. So it's a coordinated cycle, and several thousands of primordial oocytes are involved initially, but a mature oocyte is released monthly from each ovary. In normal physiology, hypothalamic, pituitary-ovarian axis will be in action here. It is indeed a cycle. That's why it's called menstrual cycle. The hypothalamus releases in a pulsatile fashion the gonadotropin releasing hormone. The pituitary will release the FSH and LH, and the ovary will release the estrogen and progesterone. The gonadotropin releasing hormone secretion is pulsatile. The pituitary will only secrete luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone if gonadotropin releasing hormone secretion is pulsatile. If it is not pulsatile, which means gonadotropin releasing hormone release is in a continuous form, like exogenous administration of gonadotropin releasing hormone, then the pituitary will become desensitized, which means no LH or FSH will be released. The above is the reason for giving gonadotropin releasing hormone agonists exogenously to suppress gonadotropin secretion in prostatic carcinoma, fibroids, endometriosis, and precocious puberty. The cycle. The first day is the day you start bleeding, and the cycle should last 28 plus or minus 7 days. So if it is minus 7 days, you'll be dealing with 21 days. If you add 7 days to 28 days, that's 25. So it is normal for any woman who is having the cycle every 21 days. Also, the individuals, the women who are having it every 35 days, that's fine. So anything between 21 and 35 will be fine. Although the midline, which is 28, is very common to many people. The reason why people will have so many irregular menses is for another day, not for this. That's why I tagged this in the beginning, the normal menstrual cycle, the normal ovulatory cycle. So the midday is 14, and that is the day ovulation is expected, so the ovulation day. The entire cycle is divided into two phases, the follicular phase and the luteal phase. Still about the cycle, after menarche, that is your first menses ever in life, the cycle will vary from the first 1 to 7 years, but mostly the first 1 to 5 years. In other words, when you start the first experience of menstrual cycle, the first bleeding, that is a menarche, depends, some within the age of 10 and 12, some up to 15. It will vary initially. The first 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, up to 5 years might be unstable. It will also vary when you have had a consistent, stable menses for a long period of time up to the age of 40. Then you can start experiencing gradual decline for almost 10 years. So menopause, premenopausal period. The variability above, that is, immediately after menarche and before menopause, is due to changes in follicular phase, and which could be 14 to 21 days. The luteal phase, that is progesterone-related phase, is 14 days constant. Follicular phase, the early phase of it. Here we'll find the ovary that is quiescent or dormant. An early part has decreasing estrogen and progesterone, and that will be leading to increased gonadotropin releasing hormone pulse from the negative feedback effect causing from the low level of estrogen and progesterone with inhibin A. And they will obtain that from the late luteal and early follicular phase. And that will stimulate increased level of follicle stimulating hormone. The follicle stimulating hormone will stimulate developing follicles. Follicular phase, the early part of follicular phase. The follicles will secrete inhibin B, and high concentration of that will suppress further follicle stimulating hormone. That is, leaving the rest follicle for the future of the woman to be producing every month. The LH, that is luteinizing hormone pulse, is at the rate of 1 pulse every 4 hours in the late luteal phase, and it is increased to 1 pulse every 90 minutes in the early follicular phase. The reason why this is like this is because the early follicular phase will directly follow the late luteal phase. That is why the LH pulse is like that. There is slowing or stopping of luteinizing hormone pulses during sleep. The level of serum anti-Mullerian hormone secreted by antral follicles would dictate the number of ovarian antral follicles. Now, the mid-follicular phase. The follicle stimulating hormone will stimulate follicles and estrogen production. And that will lead to several follicles that will grow into antral stage with a further increase in estrogen and inhibin A from ovaries. Increased estrogen will send signals to give negative feedback on hypothalamus and pituitary gland. And that will lead to decreased FSH and LH. Increased estrogen will lead to proliferation of the uterine endometrium, and that will make the uterine wall to become thicker with increased glands. The late follicular phase will be seen with increased estrogen and inhibin A from growing follicles. Serum follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone are dropping because of the negative feedback effects of estrogen. Then the dominant follicle is selected. FSH induces LHA receptors in the ovary, and ovarian secretion of insulin-like growth factor 1 will increase. The rest follicles will undergo atresia. The dominant follicle will increase in size. An increased level of estradiol will lead to increased endometrial thickness. Then, the increase in amount and stringy or stretchy nature of the cervical mucus, which is the way we test for sperm-Barkey test when someone is using natural family planning or Billings method of contraception. So, the changes in mucus character above will give signal, or it will herald the arrival of ovulation, and it will also indicate the end of the follicular phase. In other words, when you are having natural method of family planning or Billings method of contraception, and you are told to watch out when your cervical mucus is stretchy and thin, that you should be careful, you are close to ovulation. That is absolutely right. Spin bracket test, because at that stage, that is giving us the news that ovulation is about to occur, and it's telling you we have reached the end of the follicular phase. Now the luteal phase. The increased estradiol will continue until the peak at a day before ovulation. Then the plug will be pulled. That is, there will be no more negative feedback on LH by estradiol and progesterone. So, at Midcycle Surge, there will be sudden surge in luteinizing hormone, and it will be about 10 times increase in the level of LH. There could be smaller increase in the level of FSH, and there will be a positive feedback LH release. The positive feedback means when there's LH level, more LH will be released. That will lead to more of it to be released. That is positive feedback. The profound increase in the level of LH can be used to dictate or date ovulation. Now, ovulation. 36 hours after the LH surge, the oocyte is released from the follicle. Granulosa cells surrounding the oocyte will begin to luteinize and produce progesterone. Progesterone will quickly slow down the LH surge because it has already happened, okay? The luteinization has occurred, so we don't need another luteinization anymore. So luteinizing hormone level surge will be slowed down with the presence of progesterone. Progesterone will stop the endometrial proliferation that the estrogen had started during the follicular phase by stopping the mitosis. The corpus luteum will continue to secrete progesterone, and LH will be dropping to 1 pulse every 4 hours. The corpus luteum will also produce inhibin A. Inhibin B is absent during luteal phase. The serum leptin are highest in the luteal phase. And get this, leptin inhibits hunger, decreases fat storage, enhances memory and learning. I could see, no wonder, many women are pretty smart. I could see some ladies clapping and smiling there. Late luteal phase. Decreased luteinizing hormone will lead to gradual decreased progesterone and estrogen if there is no fertilization. But if there is fertilization, you know the entire process leading to that, right? Implantation will follow. And the embryo having the chorionic gonadotropin will keep the corpus luteum active. Doing what? Producing more and more progesterone. Because progesterone is necessary, is required, is important to keep the pregnancy intact within the uterine wall. And that is why some people will need exogenous progesterone if they can't have enough to keep the pregnancy intact, because progesterone will help in preventing contraction of the uterine wall. Late luteal phase continue. At about 14th day after LH surge, the estradiol and progesterone release will drop. Why that? Because the corpus luteum is resolving. Remember I said, if there is no fertilization, then the corpus luteum will start resolving. That if there is fertilization, then there will be implantation. And with implantation and the zygote not developing to become an embryo with coronary gonadotrophin, more progesterone will be produced, and later on the placenta will take over the production of the progesterone. Well, we're not going into that today. The job at hand today is only about normal ovulatory cycle. So, when there's no fertilization and there's drop in the level of progesterone because the corpus luteum is resolving, that will lead to sloughing and loss of blood supply to the endometrial. And that will manifest physically like we see every month as menses, hence the onset of menses. Note this, the fall in serum hormones and the onset of endometrial sloughing is not a fixed time. And that explains why the menstrual cycle days are not fixed. Though highly variable, but recognize that 28 plus or minus 7, which is 21 to 35, is normal, which means if you take 7 away from 28, you're going to get 21, right? And if you add 7 to 28, you're going to get 35, right? So any woman having a monthly menstrual cycle between 21 and 35 days is considered normal. Lastly, decreased estrogen and progesterone will have no more negative feedback on hypothalamic Piyuitary-Ovarian axis. Hence, gonadotrophin releasing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone actions from hypothalamus to pituitary and to the ovary will begin, and the next cycle begins again. And with that, I end my own story as per normal ovulatory cycle. Thanks for listening. Kindly subscribe, leave your comment, ask your questions, and remember to subscribe. I appreciate it.